Browns continue preparations for the Bears on Sunday, and on Wednesday, Caleb Williams, the Bears quarterback, was asked about Myles Garrett, mentioned that Myles Garrett, he knows he's chasing that sack record, and Mary Kay, he said he's going to do everything he can to make sure Myles does not get to that 22.5 this week in Chicago.
That's absolutely right. That's last year's #1 overall pick. And the way I led my story on this is that he should call this year's #1 overall pick for tips on how not to be part of a 30 for 30 down the road on the fact that Myles set that NFL single season sack record against him. So he is very, very determined to do that. And by now, teams and players know the formula. First of all, you have to run the ball. It's called tightening Myles Garrett. And we'll see if they can do that. They are the #2 rushing attack in the NFL. So that's part of it, run the ball. And then the other thing is Caleb Williams, he's going to have to get rid of it very, very quickly. Everybody knows that that's the case. And they have a good left tackle over there, and they will give him help. But that is going to be the mission for the Bears this weekend, is to keep Myles from setting the record.
Yeah, so much of it is scheming it, too, and we know that Ben Johnson has the ability to do that. And one of the interesting things, too, is in Chicago, they have had to face some elite pass rushers this season. Maybe not all at Myles Garrett's level, but certainly Micah Parsons, Aiden Hutchinson. So they've certainly had to face guys like that. So, Ashley, this is a really interesting matchup.
It is, and Caleb Williams, I heard the broadcast in that Packers game, Tom Brady and those guys call him an escape artist, and I think that's really accurate. Like, there might be some of that Lamar Jackson, which the Browns are used to, in that he doesn't want to give up on a play. The play is not dead until it's dead. You have to play through everything, because when you think it's over, he'll find a way to try and make a play, and I really am curious to see if Myles Garrett is going to be able to get to him, and you add in the bad weather this weekend, it's another element they're going to have to work against.
Yeah, and Brown's defensive coordinator today, Jim Schwartz, said that it's like Caleb has eyes in the back of his head, the way he's able to escape. Now, the Browns quarterback, Shedeur Sanders, we got to hear from offensive coordinator Tommy Rees today. And Mary Kay, Shedeur yesterday talked a lot about just making sure he's here next year, making sure he has a chance to have this job next year. Tommy Rees, though, he's taking it week by week with his rookie quarterback.
He definitely is taking it week by week. And, of course, we know that Shedeur is starting the final 4 games. So that will give him a total of 7. So I asked him today, is 7 enough to know if he's your guy? He said, once again, they're just taking it one day at a time, and they're looking for that growth. But I really think they're going to look back to that game against the Titans, and they saw so many things on that film that I believe will tell them that he's getting there. He is getting there to the point where they're going to say, we think maybe, just maybe, he can be our guy. Now he's got to go do it again a bunch more times, but that was quite a big step up.
Yeah, that's the key, Ashley. We saw some of those bad habits get broken, but now can he do it week in and week out? And as we know, he's going to get these last 4 weeks to show that he can.
Yeah, I think it's all about longevity at this point, and I do think it's good, as we talked about, that there's no mystery anymore. Kevin Stefanski named him the starter for the rest of the season, so that at least is good for continuity's sake. And yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be about showing that he can learn from any mistakes he made. He talked after that game and on Wednesday about learning from that interception, right? And those kind of things for rookies, it's all about not making the same mistake twice.
Now, if you're wondering, just speaking of Tommy Rees, he was asked about that Penn State interview. He gave the same answer to that as he did about any interest he might have in the Michigan job. He's focused on doing his job here. So we'll just leave it at that for now. What we will talk about is the center position. Luke Wypler is going to take over for Ethan Pocic this week, as Ethan Pocic ruptured his Achilles. He is out for the season. And Mary Kay, just one of the things that has stood out really the last few weeks, but now especially the Pocic is hurt, is guys just talking about how important he is, not just on the field as a player, but his work ethic, his mind, all of those things. They're going to really miss Ethan Pocic.
They really are. They were telling an anecdote today about how while he was down hurt, he was giving Wypler tips on what to do in the football game. And as Joel Bitonio said, he is all about ball. And as we know, he was helping Shedeur Sanders slide the protections. That's a pretty big job in the football game. So we'll see if that falls onto Shedeur this week, or if that's something that someone else on the line is going to be able to do. But this is only Luke Wypler's second NFL start, and that's going to be a tall order against a pretty good Bears football team.
Now, if you are looking for a silver lining, at least Wypler has been in the league for a little while, so he has sort of been sitting behind Ethan Pocic. He has been in these meetings. He's been learning. So I guess, Ashley, this is an opportunity to see how much of that learning will translate to play on the field.
Yeah, and he's gotten on the field, too, even though he hasn't started many games, as Mary Kay said. We've seen them use him in some of their jumbo packages. So he has been out there a little bit. You have to take that with a grain of salt because jumbo packages are different than being the starting center. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting, and we asked Joel Bitonio about this today. The fact he is right now the last starter remaining on that O-line. He's banged up himself, but really the last one who hasn't been dealing with a super significant or season-ending injury. And he talked about that, like, never thought this would be the position they're in. But, I mean, it speaks to how much this offense is dealing with right now.
Okay, we will have full coverage of everything that happened today here in Berea. You can find it all at cleveland.com/Browns.